Hi guys. So I think we have about an hour today or so because I'm full on expecting like a horror show in Kyiv tonight. There are reasons to believe that that will be the case. MiGs are at the ready, Ukrainian MiGs. There was a what is it called? A terrorist attack in Moscow today. And the reason why I put quotation marks on it is because it's very obvious that it's a Russian provocation and that Russia. Hi Carolyn, hi Joe, hi John, hi Ian, hi Nicole, hi Diane, hi Michelle, hi Demon Orb, hi Nick, hi everybody. Sorry if I did not. I'm just looking at the. Hi Armin, hi Niels. Hi Fella, hi Lars, hi John from Arizona. So yeah, so basically, obviously Russia never, nothing ever happens in Russia just because. If something like this was planned, Russia would know. This would not have been the situation. It also is eerily reminiscent of the attacks that Russia has done on the apartment building in order to justify invading Chechnya back in the 2000s. If you don't know what happened, basically Putin, there is massive evidence of this. There was a terrorist attack on a building in Moscow, which Chechnya was blamed for, and that was used as an internal justification to start a war with Chechnya again. And this time around, it seems like this is being used as an internal justification to bomb Ukraine or to do more damage to Ukraine, because obviously there have been a lot of stuff going on in Belgorod, and Russians are like really unhappy because Belgorod is suffering and whatnot, and so it's they want that to stop. So the internal mood might be shifting towards sort of like less support towards what Putin is doing for now, only in Belgorod. So they need some more justification as to do something crucial in Ukraine. It was obviously made up. Also, if you look at the videos, the way that these rifles are shooting or automatic guns are shooting makes no sense, because it looks like fireworks. And if you've ever seen like an automatic gun shoot rounds, it does not look anything like what it does on video. There are a bunch of people acting really strange in that concert hall. Like they're not like really acting like people who would be hiding from a mass shooting. Anyways, I mean, the thing is, even if the people are real and the people actually suffered, then it wouldn't be uncanny, because Moscow doesn't care. The Kremlin doesn't care. The Kremlin is willing to sacrifice whoever and whatever in order to reach its goal. So it's not that uncanny. So basically what happened in Moscow today is there was a terrorist attack in a concert hall where a bunch of shooters basically executed a mass shooting. There was also a suspicious van parked outside the concert hall that was obviously immediately named to be a Ukrainian van, except what they fucked up with is that it's a Belarusian license plate, not Ukrainian license plate. Obviously, the photos of the van went viral on the internet immediately, and a lot of people pointed out that it is actually a Belarusian license plate, not a Ukrainian license plate on the van. And then the concert hall got on fire because, and so it was burning very, very, very bright. So that's kind of what's been happening in Moscow today. All of that was happening while I was actually at a screening of a documentary film made by Kyiv Independent about war crimes and how hard it is to prove a crime of genocide. I actually posted. I actually posted. So I actually posted a community tab post where I reposted the English version of the documentary that I watched. I went to a screening of it so the movie theater is called October, and they show a lot of indie movies and a lot of like Ukrainian movies. And tonight was the premiere of this Kyiv independent project called Destroy Fully or in Part. And it was a very, 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 very well made documentary, and it raised a lot of really, really good questions. And if you go to my community tab after this stream, I highly recommend that you watch it. So it basically interviews different experts as to what is qualified as genocide and why or why not they think that what Russia is doing to Ukraine is or is not a genocide. And there's one expert that obviously will infuriate everyone, but he's very good because through him you can see why legally it is so hard to prove something as a genocide. And he serves as a very good point to kind of study what you have to brush up on and what evidence you have to have in order to prove a genocide, because he's like a very harsh critic. But also the creator of the documentary later was saying that, he's been studying this expert for a long time, and he's read a lot of his works, and so he's defended a lot of very strange things on behalf of governments and excused some genocides. So as in like he's a peach, but it's really good to sort of follow him and his ideas of why something isn't a genocide in order to have ironclad evidence that it is, because you basically know what people like him are going to be questioning. And also the entire movie basically asks the question if it's worth it for Ukraine to try to prove this as a genocide, which it is, and what that can mean and what sort of like complications can result from that and implications that can come out of that and stuff like that. And obviously the author of the documentary does think that we should be talking about this as a genocide, and that we should be proving that it's a genocide, because it also shows the broader picture of our history and the fact that Russia had already committed multiple genocides in Ukraine, and that it shows not just this one separate situation, but what Russia is doing is like a pattern of events that they have been doing in Ukraine. So if you haven't heard of this documentary, it is literally in my community tab. I posted it. It's on Kyiv Independence channel. It came out in English already, and the Ukrainian version of it is going to come out tomorrow. And the Ukrainian version is the version that I watched, and I thought it was very, very well done. And it is very educational. It kind of like makes you think about a lot of things. It makes you sort of understand how to advocate better in terms of explaining to people why what Russia is doing is a genocide. It's a very, very good documentary to watch, and I really, really highly recommend it, because it also helps you refute the arguments, that even legal arguments that people can be using to say that what's happening in Ukraine is not a genocide. The documentary is called, one second, because I watched it in Ukrainian, so I want to give you the actual name that they translated it to, because sometimes it's translated not the way that you would think. So, Destroy in Whole or in Part is the documentary by Kyiv Independent. I'm going to give you a synopsis of this. Bucha, Irpin, Izum, mass graves in Mariupol, abductions of Ukrainian children. Although Russian atrocities and war crimes have shocked the world, the legal battle is still ongoing about how to qualify these crimes. Is Russia really trying to destroy the Ukrainian nation? The Kyiv Independence War Crimes Investigation Unit embarked on a journey to examine Russia's real intent in its new documentary, Destroy, in Whole or in Part. So that's kind of, that's what the documentary is. Yulia, do you think anything is going to happen tonight? They're trying to blame Ukraine already. Yes, I do think that something is going to happen tonight, and I'm going to demonstrate something to you that I think you will find interesting. Give me 1 second. I will bring something. I just want to show it to you. Because I don't think that anyone truly thinks about those things ever. But unfortunately, we as Ukrainians have to. So, I'm bringing something over here to show you the fact that I am indeed very much thinking that something will happen tonight. I have heard from sources, both my friends that live near airfields in Kyiv and reasonable sources that are in the military and otherwise, that we are expecting a hellscape in Kyiv tonight of Russian missiles. So, this is Cindy's water bottle. It's very convenient. I got it from some Polish website. It's really nice. You know, I can put water in here. So when we need to go to the bomb shelter, thank you, Mark. That's good to have. This is a book that I'm going to bring with me to read. It's George Orwell, 1984. I haven't read it in a while, and then I saw it. I really liked the cover, so I figured I'd bring it. I'd buy it, and it's been on the shelf for a while because I've read this a million times before. And I figured, you know, why not? I'll give it a reread. Both of my passports and Cindy's passport in there as well, just in case my apartment gets destroyed, so I still have identification. I have a throw in here just in case, because, you know, why not? 2 throws actually. And I haven't really packed, I will do that before I go to bed, but I haven't really packed, I'm going to bring some snacks. I just don't want them to sit there in my hallway all night. So there's that. And this is a sleeping bag because my bomb shelter is my underground parking garage. It is not fun to be in there. So there is that. And yeah, and there is, 1 sec. And I'm bringing this because it's like the fluffiest, most comfortable, warmest kind of like thing I have. It's actually, when you buy these, they're from You Animals. Most of the profits from these go to support Ukrainian animals. They rescue animals and stuff. So this is what I'm bringing with me as well. And I see that a lot of you are asking about water and food. Yes, I have water standing in a water bottle in my fridge, which I will put in this bag before I go to sleep after I finish the live. And I also have some snacks that are in the fridge that I will also put in the bag before I go to sleep after this live, because I want my water to be cold, and I don't have like a my water bottle thing is not like a thermal thing, so it's not you know, yeah, the water is not going to be as cold as I want it to be. So life straw, I don't think I need a life straw. I have a British Army sleeping bag, I think you mean. So yeah, I mean, I must have them too, but so well, I do have them. The thing is, I do have them there in the washer, and I don't think the washing is going to be done. Big battery pack for streaming. I'm not going to be able to stream because there is no internet and no service in the parking garage. So there's literally zero reason for me to do that. Hi, Rick. Oh my gosh. So good to see you. Dog food. I mean, I'm not going to be bringing dog, like if Cindy's going to eat her dinner, and I'm not going to be bringing, like, you guys are like thinking that I'm going underground for days. Like, the idea of going to the bomb shelter is like not like, you're not preparing for being under the rubble, because if you're going to be under the rubble, you can't use any of these things anyways. Okay. So yeah. Like, I'm bringing things for a couple of hours. Okay. Like, I understand, I appreciate, like, I appreciate the concern, but like, if I'm going to be stuck in the bomb shelter because like my entire building collapsed or something like that, then I'm not going to be using dog food anyway. So, Allison, hi, Bubba. Hi. Come here. Yes, I know. Come here, bud. Yes, I am gonna bring a power bank. I am gonna bring a power bank, right, Bubba? I am gonna bring a power bank. Don't worry, it's charging right now. You may need to go coral diving while in there. Yes, my devices are going to be charged up. Don't worry. So this is Cindy. For those of you who haven't met her yet, she's my favorite gremlin. She is very much gremlin-like. And yeah, so we are expecting a huge missile strike tonight because of what's been happening in Russia. Or rather, well, so Russia has shelled Kyiv really badly a couple of days ago. Yesterday, Russia shelled Kharkiv just nonstop. My friend, I was actually talking to a friend of mine who lives in Kharkiv, and he trains Ukrainian soldiers in drone reconnaissance and tactical medicine and mine clearance and stuff like that. And so he said that he has heard 17 plus explosions, one after the other. Russia has struck a dam in Ukraine, which we will talk about once we get to the news. There has been a lot of horrendous stuff happening in the past couple of days, to be honest, and it's really not great. And we're all sort of expecting, we're hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. Also, Rick, if you're there now, do you want to join me on my stream for the first time in ever? Really? Do you want to pop in for a couple of minutes? Because here's the thing. Normally, you would be going to work tomorrow, but you are off this week. And I know that. So it's not like no pressure, right? Like no pressure, but kind of pressure, like for a couple of minutes, maybe, sort of, kind of. He's going to hide now. He's going to hide. He's going to pretend like he's no longer with us. He's going to pretend like he's no longer with us. Peer pressure, so much peer pressure. So yeah, well, I mean, you guys have to peer pressure. You may be, like at him and tag him, and like I'm totally not inviting you to harass this man at all, like at all. It's such a normal thing to do. You see Rick in the wild, and then you just like send people to harass him to join the stream. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I'm also wearing the sweatshirt he liked last time I wore this sweatshirt. Okay. And look above for my clever message. I don't see any clever messages above. I don't see any other messages from you. Hi, Claire. Kharkiv was attacked not just by drones. Kharkiv was attacked by missiles. Kharkiv was attacked by everything, and that's it's very unfortunate. And I'm really hoping that it's not going to be attacked tonight. But I'm not in Kharkiv. I'm in Kyiv. And I do think that Kyiv is going to be attacked tonight, to be very honest with you. Rick, I'm sending you an invite, Like, here's the thing. I'm just doing that, and you really don't have an option to sort of decline this invitation, because why would you do that? I just sent you an invite, and it's sort of like, it's right there. You just need to click on it. It looks like Cindy is always fighting being conscious. Oh, yes. I really like that sweatshirt. Carpathians look beautiful in photos I've seen so far. Yeah, Carpathians are really beautiful. Carpathians is like one of my happy places. It's also one of my dad's happiest places. Yeah, not, YouTube might have filtered the comments. My YouTube chat is odd. It's like it doesn't like a lot of things. It's very it's very it's strict. Привіт. Вам також тихої ночі. But yes, so I was talking to a couple of my civilian friends who live near airfields, and I was talking to a couple of my friends who are in the military, and all of them seem to think that tonight is going to be quite a loud night for Kyiv. Russia never attacks at like 11 or 12 or 1 a.m. It always waits until like 2:30 or 3:30 or 4:30 in the morning. So you are like woken up in the middle of the night, and you're forced to go to the bomb shelter, and so you are like not really functional at work, and so you're stressed and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that if they do attack, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You know, it's going to happen like late at night. Also, so Rick screenshotted what he had instead of typing it out again. Here's what Rick did. Rick screenshotted his messages saying, "How do you like the FSB killing their own cattle to make world sympathize them instead of Ukrainians after a massive strike? And not sorry, exhausted, spend literally the whole day on foot," which is understandable because Rig did another truck handoff today, the Nafo truck handoff. He did invite me to come, but unfortunately, because I couldn't sleep the night before, and I was having like headaches and stuff like that. I had a really hard time falling asleep yesterday, and I took a melatonin, and honestly, what a godsend. Melatonin very rarely works for me, but I took that one, and it was like fantastic. So I fell asleep, and I woke up at like noon at first. But so, what do I think about Russia killing their own cattle in order to distract from what they were doing in Ukraine? I mean, like, I don't necessarily think that this was meant for, I don't think this was meant to distract people from Ukraine or like to make the world feel bad for their terrorist attack instead of like the terrorist attack that they caused on Kyiv. I think it's more so to justify an even more horrifying attacks on Kyiv, and they need a more justification for their internal audiences to continue bombing Kyiv, because, as we know, Belgorod was being bombed for a while now, and Ukraine has been hitting military infrastructure there, and there are also like Russian battalions in there, so there's a lot going on. So Russians there are like quite not happy. And they need that. Also, of course, if there is a terror attack in Moscow, people are going to be distracted onto that, and they're just going to forget about what Russia was doing to Kyiv 2 nights before, or to Kharkiv literally that same night. Russia almost blew up a dam, and Russia hit a dam that basically supplies that if it exploded, it would flood Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, leaving it without energy at all, which would be a catastrophe of like world scale catastrophe. The dam is holding by a hair, like it's not like it's holding by a straw. Okay, like it's pretty ruined, and the water is obviously pouring out of the dam at speeds at which it didn't before. And we are like, I mean, Ukraine is going to do everything possible in order to hold the dam, right? But who's to say that Russia is not going to continue attacking it tonight? So I actually want to show you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and find like a short summary of what Russia did to justify an attack on Chechnya. Okay, so Moscow. terror attack, 2002. 1 second, but now it all comes up as, today's terror attack. Okay. Okay, so here. This is 11 years ago.
In Moscow, 57 hours of horror played out as the world's television cameras rolled. It put the brutality of the armed Chechen independence movement struggle with Russia back to the top of news bulletins across the globe. The Kremlin's response was to cancel a troop drawdown in Chechnya, give more power to its military in the North Caucasus, and make it harder for journalists to report on the conflict. Moscow's approach to the region and to hostage crises tend to be uncompromising.
In this situation, you don't actually need to think about victims. You just need to think about how to prevent terrorists to change the political situation, to dictate their force what to do.
But the crackdown in Chechnya had questionable success. 2 years after the theatre siege, another hostage crisis unfolded at a school in Beslan, North Ossetia. More than 330 people died in the chaotic rescue operation. At least half of those were children. But attacks on ordinary Russians didn't begin with the theatre siege in Beslan, and they certainly didn't end there either. Other recent strikes include last year the bombing of Domodedovo Airport, and in 2010, 2 women blew themselves up on Moscow's metro system. And almost every day, Russian troops strike in the North Caucasus. Rights groups like Amnesty International have documented unlawful killings, disappearances, and torture. 10 years on from the Moscow theatre siege, Dmitry Milovidov wants to know why only one of his 2 daughters made it out alive. The authorities have never identified the gas they used, and they've so far...
Basically, there were a series of terrorist attacks to justify attacking Chechnya. And there is ample evidence showing that these were pre-planned, that there were sandbags and gas being stored under the building beforehand, and it was not Chechens who were doing this, but it was basically done in order to set up Chechens. And Russia is known for these tactics. It's not a new tactic. Russia will sacrifice their own people in order to reach their goal. I mean, we see that on the front line, so it's not really anything crazy. Also, let me see, because Rick is saying something. Oh, wait, that's so weird. Rick sent me a screenshot. What about this message also hidden? I'd love to join. Sorry, need to sleep already, TBH. Oh, wow. Literally aren't permitted to say something in the chat. Rick is not permitted to say something. That's so weird. It's very odd. Hey, Grumps, or someone who's on YouTube, could you please look at like the filtered words or something like that? Or maybe like limited access channels. Maybe like someone accidentally put Rick in there or something like that on one of the streams. You should be able to access that information. And if you can't, then I am going to like look at it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it after the stream, because I'm doing it through a software, and it's like free software, and there is very limited functionality that I have. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nate. So yeah, so this is not Russia's first rodeo when it comes to agitation, and when it comes to sacrificing their own people in order to justify attacking whoever it is that they want to attack at that point in time. And now it's Ukraine. It's also, I find it incredibly funny that they were trying to say that there was a suspicious van that was Ukrainian. Meanwhile, it was evidently not Ukrainian. It was a Belarusian license plate, so it was not even anywhere near being Ukrainian. I did see a very good video breakdown of what's been happening, of what happened there. And I wanted to show it to you, but for some reason I can't find it on Twitter again. But there was like an actual breakdown of there was an actual plus, Rick. I do see it. But so there was an actual breakdown of why. First of all, it looks like the bullets in the automatic weapon are not real, and it's like a fake round, because they look kind of like fireworks. They say it was ISIS. Oh my gosh, no. Russia says it was Ukrainians. Russia says it was Jews. Russia says it was Ukrainian Jews. Then they said it was Zionists. Now there is a Belarusian van. I mean, it's just the whole world against Russia. That's just all it is. Also, before we get into it, I will say that the timing of this is very, very interesting, because you've seen this. It's an article that says US has urged Ukraine to halt strikes on Russian oil refineries. Washington told Kyiv that drone attacks risk driving up crude prices and provoking retaliation. So first of all, this article is written by Christopher Miller, not Christopher Miller, the guy that is the official at the Pentagon. Christopher Miller, a rando who wrote a book about the Ukrainian struggles from his American voice. He very often says that that there are Nazis in Ukraine and that Azov are Nazis and all of these things, although he is positioning himself as a pro-Ukrainian person, though he is not. He is as pro-Ukrainian as every closeted Russophile. He's said a lot of very controversial stuff about Ukraine. We in Ukraine absolutely despise him. Those of us who know him, he's making a lot of money on his book that's called like The War Came to Us or something like that. And came to who? To us who? You're not Ukrainian. What are you talking about? But anyways, it's just like he's making money that way. And he's the author of this article. This article is likely a part of a larger disinformation scheme that's meant to heat up tensions between Ukrainians and Americans, because there are already tensions. Obviously, like the United States, it has been holding up aid for 6 months. Ukrainians are really scared, really pissed, terrified, right? So now, give us a reason to hate the US lawmakers even more. And that would be the reason. Also, because it's Biden administration, right? Ukrainians would now be talking against Biden because a lot of Ukrainians do not understand the political dynamics in the United States, and they do not understand that if Biden loses, Trump wins. And so that is actually a brilliant move, because Ukrainians shitting on Biden is only giving Trump a leg up. So this article is such a beautiful propaganda piece. Ukrainians are upset at Americans. Americans look at that and think of Ukrainians as ungrateful. And then also Ukrainians are upset at the Biden administration. They shit on the Biden administration, and then Biden loses and Trump wins. It's such carefully crafted propaganda. I was honestly I was amazed at how well it worked, because I've seen a lot of my friends who are phenomenal activists, who usually are so good at debunking disinformation, be so mad at this and post things on Twitter being like, oh, really? And also Jake Sullivan was here, so it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense that this would be the situation. Podolyak came out a couple of hours ago and actually said that the U.S. never forbade Ukraine from striking any oil facilities or oil refineries, and that no one can really tell Ukraine what to do with our own weapons. Ukraine has not been striking any oil refineries or any oil facilities in the past couple of days. Well, because, and one of people's arguments for this being true is that Ukraine hasn't struck any facilities in a couple of days. Ukraine has been under larger mass missile attacks than normal in the past couple of days. So it makes sense that we are not really striking infrastructure within Russia. We were just kind of trying to protect our own borders from those. So there is that. I would not listen to Christopher Miller or anything he has to say. Every single time that you read an article written by a Westerner about something that, happens in Ukraine, do double check it and also look at the name of these people and do some deeper research. Like if it's a Westerner who's pro-Ukrainian, I don't know, go on Twitter, go on Instagram. I hate Twitter, but listen to what Ukrainians have to say about this person, because more often than not, a lot of these people that pose as pro-Ukrainian, it's quite hard to differentiate them from actual pro-Ukrainian Westerners, because there are very subtle notes of like colonization support and like very subtle notes of propaganda that they sort of mix into their pro-Ukrainian narratives, and only Ukrainians usually are able to see that right away. So we have a little more. We get it faster, basically. So because we've been through this, I mean, like it's pretty evident why we would get it faster, right? Okay, well, so Tyrannus says, well, Podolyak, he's not the most reliable. It's odd that he alone issued a denial when he's just Yermak's weird advisor. Well, yeah, but he does work in the presidential office, and he does do quite a few press communications. Here's the thing. I think that the interesting part is that a lot of people are asking, why wouldn't the U.S. Issue a statement basically denying these claims, right? And I think that if these claims are not true, the US can't really issue a statement denying the claims, because the US is not going to want to say that they're okay with Ukraine striking Russia's oil refineries. The US is actually not going to want to issue any statements saying that they're okay with Ukraine striking the territory of Russia. Especially in terms of like large facilities, because they don't want to say that out loud to Russia. And I think that this is the precarious situation where damned if you do and damned if you don't. So that's why I think that this move was really brilliant on behalf of Russia and on behalf of Russian propaganda, because it's done at a very sensitive time where tensions between Ukraine and the US are rising. And it wouldn't be uncanny for the US to say, like, Ukrainians would believe this very much so, and a lot did, because we would not put it past the US to do that, right? Provided like how much the US has been letting us down recently. Tensions are heating up. This article is heating these tensions up even more. And Ukrainians at this point are pissed and are willing to believe anything, right? Because we're pissed and we're scared. And so it is a very, very interesting, precarious time where the claim made in this article is also something that the US is not going to come out and flat out deny, because then Russia is going to be like, oh, so you want Ukraine to strike our oil refineries? So you're saying that you're encouraging Ukraine striking our oil refineries with Western weapons is what you're saying, right? So the thing is, like, I don't think that the Biden administration is going to be coming out, and actually saying something, of that nature, because fears of escalation and whatnot. I don't believe this article is true, because there's plenty of crude and there is plenty of oil in the market, and I do not think that Biden would be worried about prices of oil jumping because of the election, because there are quite a few sources you can get oil from that are not Russia. It's kind of stupid. Like, that's just a dumb argument. I do think fears of escalation make sense, especially because Jake Sullivan, but also Ukraine has been striking stuff inside Russia, and American officials have repeatedly said that they do not have any prerogative to tell us what to do, which that would make no sense if they just turned around and they just changed their mind. So it does smell like Russian propaganda. Another thing here is that Russia is very interested in Biden's administration losing. Obviously, they've been showing that from every angle possible. Even Putin saying like, "Oh yeah, I would rather Biden win. He's predictable. He's not he's not, obviously that's not true. He doesn't want Biden to win. He wants to say that, and he wants to make it sound like Biden is predictable for him. So you would vote for someone who isn't predictable for Putin, right? It's just like his way of undermining Biden. And the way that Ukrainians are reacting on social media to this article is basically like, oh, Biden has to take a political hit for this because like he's weak, he's blah, blah. But Ukrainians forget that if Biden takes a political hit, there's no one else other than Trump, and Trump is Putin's buddy. And Trump has blackmailed Zelensky before, and Trump is worse. So it's just sort of like, it's a very, 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 very carefully crafted information warfare. Like very carefully crafted information warfare. And honestly, I have to give it to Russia because they're very good at it. They sucked at it for a while because they were trying to use the same methods they were using on Russian herd sheep on Ukrainians, and obviously that wasn't working. And then they've adjusted it, and they've adjusted it for the world. They've adjusted it for Ukrainians. They've adjusted it for everyone. And it's been working, unfortunately. Like I really do see how much Russian informational warfare affects both Europeans and Ukrainians and Americans, and they've picked it up a notch, and it's unfortunate to see how well it's working. And I do think that this is one of their very carefully crafted disinformation campaigns that's part of like a larger agenda that I just explained. Also, wait, Rick is sending me Telegram chats. Yes, I do see that. Yes, Rick, I've seen both of these. I saw both of your messages. I do. Listen, I do agree with you, and I think that also most of the people in the chat are agreeing with you as well. But at the same time, like we don't really have anything. Else to do. So I'm trying to. Let me see something. Yeah. So. Massive Russian attack on Zaporizhia. 8 enemy missile strikes on Zaporizhia last night. Infrastructure objects were damaged. Civilian houses were damaged. We're clarifying the information about the victims. Also, another thing, something that I was talking about yesterday is there was a huge aid package that was basically, so okay. This information drowned out something else that the US has proposed to do in order to give Ukraine the $60 billion in aid without having to loan it. So the US proposed a scheme under which they would issue bonds for other countries to buy, and those bonds would be in the amount of $200 billion. So that would more than cover the $60 billion that's needed to give assistance to Ukraine. And that is the US alternative that they're trying to make happen. So that story completely got drowned out by the story that the Biden administration was telling Ukraine to not strike Russian oil refineries. The United States looking for loopholes to give Ukraine even more money than originally planned is a big story. And it's a big story that isn't good for Russia. However, no one's talking about that story, which otherwise would be a big point of discussion because of the article by Christopher Miller, which all of these circumstances altogether are just giving me enough reasons to think that, all of this is just a part of a very, very carefully crafted ploy. So there is that. The Russians carried out more than 15 strikes on energy facilities in Kharkiv. The city is completely without electricity. All emergency services have already been working at the spot at the time of basically very shortly after the attacks happened. This is what Kyiv metro station looked like on the night of the 21st. It was a lot of people, to be honest. So no one in my building, most people in Kyiv, thank you. Oh my gosh, Lorianne. Oh, that's so pretty. Thank you so much. there are very pretty gifts on TikTok. So like super chats and on here, like gifts on TikTok are very, very pretty, which you know what, I'll get there next later because I don't feel like this is the best time. But so in my building and in most of Kyiv, and Rick can confirm this, even though we shouldn't be confirming this because in reality, we don't lead by example and no one should be following our example. And when there is an air raid, especially if you're new to here or you're a foreigner, you should be going to the shelter because you should be worried about your safety. But when you've lived here for a while and you're so used to air raids, and especially when they happen like every other night, right? At some point, you come up with like your personal and an unspoken, thank you, Karine, thank you so much, and an unspoken sort of like level of urgency and level of danger based on a different type of an air raid. Because, for instance, if it's a MiG-31 taking off somewhere in Russia, middle of the day, you're not going to go to an air raid shelter because this is an air raid alarm that goes off all over Ukraine because a MiG is like moving from one airfield to another airfield, and by protocol, they have to turn on an air raid. So this one is like likely no danger. If it's like Shaheds flying towards Kyiv, 99.9% certainty they're going to be taken down. If it's an air raid that shows like actual, waves of ballistics heading towards Kyiv, you are gonna go to a shelter. You're gonna go underground, and you are going to like think about your safety. And so, for instance, the air raid a couple of days ago. At no point when there are air raids is anyone in my building going to the parking lot. Like, I mean, there are a couple of like old people that do religiously, but most people are not. Like most of my building was in the parking garage in the night of the 21st because the bangs were so loud. It was terrifying. And also we kept hearing like one after the other, after the other, after the other. Like there were 31 missiles that were taken down in a 2-hour span. We heard a lot, a lot of missiles taken down. So yeah, we collectively all decided that the parking lot sounds fantastic. So yeah, but yes, if you are visiting Ukraine, don't ignore air raids. If you live in Ukraine, don't ignore air raids. Like, most people do this. Like, this is not the type of thing that you advise people. Like, I do not advise people to decide which air raid is like more dangerous and which isn't. It's just that, like, when you live here full time and you've sort of been like waking up because of air raids every night, like you're gonna lose your mind. So you have to sleep, and sometimes you just choose to ignore them. But that's under your, like, you take responsibility for that. Thank you, Scooter. And are you from Ukraine? Yes, I'm a born and raised Ukrainian. So yeah, so sort of like that's your own responsibility. But like, I advise everybody to go to a bomb shelter every time. It's just that, sometimes not everyone can or does, and not every building has an air raid shelter. Sometimes when you find out about an air raid, it's like you wake up because of an explosion, not because of an air raid. A lot of us are desensitized to air raids, and we don't wake up from them anymore. So for instance, if it's ballistics and you're not in a shelter at the point of danger of ballistics, or like, when ballistics are incoming, it's actually less safe for you to go to the shelter unless it's like unless it's in your building, right? Not like in the subway, because you're exposing yourself to walking in the street and getting hit by shrapnel and yada yada. So like, it's better to sit in your bathroom. Why in your bathroom? Because there are no windows. So you're not going to get hit by glass shards. And thank you, Richard. And you're also And also because bathtubs, like, I mean, bathrooms are usually like sort of these enclosed spaces, and they're, you know, like made out of like more durable materials because you have all that stuff on your walls, and like usually it's, you know, tile and whatnot. So yeah, so stuff like that. Hi Alexander, good to see you. So that's kind of the reasoning why. Also, so I'm not obviously not going anywhere right now, but we still have a lot to cover. But before I get off stream, because I have horrendous ADHD, will you please remind me to put my water bottle and my meds and snacks into my little bomb shelter bag? I'm too tall to fit most bathtubs, so Subway will be when I visit. Oh, I'm sorry, Tyrannus. Well, bathtubs here are actually pretty large. They're not like the US, you know, where bathtubs are like meant for infants in a lot of cases. Okay, previously 2 private sector houses were destroyed in Zaporizhia. Another 7 houses were damaged. There are victims. The information is being clarified. Russians are fighting. Thank you, Netlin. Russians are fighting civilians. No need to say it again, but still, Russia is a terrorist state because Russia has been attacking civilian infrastructure on purpose. You got some ADHD coping videos by chance? No. Minister Halushenko stated that this is the largest attack on Ukraine's energy sector in recent times. The attacks have caused damage to generation facilities, transmission, and distribution systems. Additionally, one of the power lines supplying the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, NPP, has been de-energized, which is really bad because that means that Zaporizhia nuclear power plant can be left without its cooling mechanisms, and that could be like a world-scale disaster. But right now, so HMS Ray Lex says, here in South America, Russian propagandists are already blaming Ukraine, but with the ISIS statement, they have erased their previous statement. So they're going to change it up like many times. So the thing is, like, the way that Russian propaganda works is that they say a lot of contradictory things. You've noticed this, right? But they know that they say that. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they keep saying contradicting things just because. They're doing it because they know that different types of fears and different types of messages resonate with different types of people. The reason why they keep contradicting themselves and they keep putting out various messages that are not relevant to each other is because they're trying to resonate with as many different audiences as possible. Like, because you're not going to remember that they corrected themselves. You're going to remember, like, for instance, if you are like an Islamophobe, you're going to hear ISIS and you're going to be like, oh, poor Russia, I support Russia. Oh my gosh, they had an ISIS attack. If you like think Ukrainians are crazy Nazis or like whatever, you're gonna, hi Dale, you're going to like, you're going to react to that, right? Like, they said that it was what, like the Jews, the Zionists, like if you are really ardently against Israel, then that's the one that's going to resonate with you. But all of these messages are aimed at people supporting Russia, right? And all of these messages are aimed at people finding something that they find worthy of supporting Russia. Hi Lomte, дякую, and hi G. So yeah, at present, 2 individuals, including a child, are reported missing in Zaporizhia. 6 people have sought medical assistance and are in moderate condition. Rescue and search operations are currently underway. 2 private sector houses have been completely destroyed, with 7 more partially damaged. Overall, it is known that 150 buildings, including both private residences and multi-story structures, have been damaged in the city. Zaporizhia, 2 houses destroyed completely, 7 significantly damaged, and that's what it looks like. I'm going to give it a second to focus. Also, oh my gosh, wow, I need to clean my phone display. Yeah, yeah. 1 second. I'm going to clean this up because, wow, that looks horrendous, and that really... Armin, I know you posted the cute quote of the day. I'm going to read it a little later. I did notice that it was there, but I haven't got into it yet because I want to get over the news first. Also, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to grab a kombucha to drink because, well, to be fair, it doesn't like, okay, we're not even going, like, I don't like kombucha. If you would never catch me drinking kombucha in the United States, but this one kind of tastes like carbonated water that just has like really good flavoring. Thank you, Reckless Tortuga. It's too early to do that. But I'm gonna go grab a kombucha because I really want, like, I'm really thirsty, and you know, that's the thing that I like to drink. And I don't want to take my water bottle out of the fridge because then I'm gonna have to put it back in the fridge. One sec. You can enjoy Cinny snoring for now. Like those of you who have followed me from the US, since the US, right? You know that I was like obsessed with I was obsessed with yerba mates, and I was obsessed with the orange exuberance flavor. So I have in Ukraine, I'm obsessed with these Praha kombuchas, and I'm obsessed with this Coca-Cola flavor. It's really good. And then I found that one like odd flavor that one time, and I liked it a lot as well. It was like a pink one, and I can't find it anywhere anymore. Anyways. In 2024, the Netherlands will allocate an additional 2 billion euro for military support to Ukraine, announced Prime Minister Mark Rutte. This is not our final contribution. We're also actively working to ensure that 24 Dutch F-16 aircraft are in the sky over Ukraine as soon as possible, he added. Hi, Jason. Also, I think I might have missed someone's donation, because I saw something show up on my screen. And then, no, I didn't. But that brings me to into a perfect moment to remind you that we are at $13,738.41 for our fundraiser for 3rd Separate Assault Brigade for 6 DJI Mavic 3 Pro drones. And you can donate to that fundraiser through the link that I will put up on the screen in a second when Grumpy posts it, if he's so kind to do so. You can also find it in the comments on TikTok, because I'm going to ask Kat to post it there. And you can also go to my profile, and it's going on TikTok, and it's going to be right under my profile picture, beacons.ai. And it's going to be, you can click on that, and it'll bring you to a page, and it's like the first link there. It's black and orange. There is PayPal, Venmo, and Revolut. And you can donate through there, and I will announce all the donations that come in on this live, obviously, and add them to the total. Yes, if you don't want me to, if you don't want me to announce your name, just let me know in the notes, and I won't. But otherwise, all of the donations are going to be announced, who they come from, and the amount, and it's going to be added to the total. As a reminder, we're at $13,738.41 out of $15,000. This fundraiser has been going on for about 2 months. Max, that change. So the currency exchange right now is like at 39 hryvnias per dollar, but we're not exchanging it because drones are purchased abroad. So there is that. Okay. Unfortunately, the largest hydroelectric power plant in Ukraine, the Dniprovska HPP in Zaporizhzhia, has been targeted in the morning. However, there is currently no threat of a breach, and the situation at the station's dam is under control, according to Ukrhydroenergo. Inhumane aggressors have not ceased their attacks after destroying the Kakhovka HPP. Now they're attempting to create a new environmental disaster by targeting the hydropower plants of the Dniprovska HPP and its dam. Currently, a fire is ongoing at the station. Emergency services and energy workers are on site, addressing the aftermath of numerous airstrikes. Despite the challenges, there is no immediate risk of a breach, and the situation at the dam of the station remains under control. We will provide prompt updates on the consequences and the ongoing situation, the message reads. Ukrainian power engineers have managed to restore the power line to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, NPP, which was damaged by the invaders within a few hours, according to Energoatom. The department specified that the restored line is the 750 kilowatt 128. So we did get a donation of $1.28, which brings us to $13,739.69, because, you know, we have prepubescent men here hiding in bodies of adults who always want the total to end with 69. Someone please fix this atrocity. Thank you very much. The department specified that the restored line is the 750 kilowatt Dniprovska substation. Currently, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is once again connected by 2 power lines. And that was as of 11:10 a.m. this morning. Hi, Talma. What was the total? The total is $13,739.69. So also, Russia shelled Khmelnytsky quite incessantly this morning, which brings us to these pictures. For those of you who don't know, there is actually another nuclear power plant in Khmelnytsky, in Netishin, and well, this is not the place that they did shell, but this is. But there is a nuclear power plant there, and they are building, I believe, 3 more reactors, which will make the nuclear power plant as big as Zaporizhzhia, and it'll make it one of the 2 largest nuclear power plants in Ukraine. Yeah, so actually, or there are either 4 reactors and they're building 4 more, or there are 3 reactors and they're building 3 more. So, but they're making that nuclear power plant one of the largest. So it's a Khmelnytsky is a place to look out for. In the Ivano-Frankivsk region, an object of critical infrastructure was attacked. 2 people were injured. The head of the administration, Svetlana Onishchuk, reported that 1 victim was hospitalized and the second was treated on the spot. The fire that broke out at the facility has already been extinguished. 2592. Ooh, that's a nice amount. 92. So $13,765.61. So the reason why I said that's a nice amount is because it had an interesting cent left over. Another $10.31 from Veronica, which brings us to $13,775.92. So no 69s. Love that. So nice. Okay. The head of Ukrenergo stated that the overnight attack was the largest in the recent times, surpassing even last winter's attacks. Dozens of key network facilities have been affected in the power system, with the scale of damage being global. The situation is particularly dire in Kharkiv, where occupiers targeted major energy facilities supplying the city. Emergency shutdowns are currently in effect in 7 regions, including Dnipro, Donetsk, Kirovohrad, Odessa, Poltava, Sumy, and Kharkiv. The power system is receiving emergency aid from 3 countries. The Dnipropetrovsk HPP, oh, Jason, 28 plus 28, 68. $28.68, which brings us to $13,804.06. Woo, super close. The Dniprovska HPP dam in Zaporizhzhia was hit. Traffic is completely blocked by the crossing. One of the power transmission lines feeding the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was cut off as a result of the shelling. Now it is restored. DTEK reported significant damage at thermal power plants, with 2 energy workers sustaining injuries. Plus 2131 from Netlin, $13,825.91. Also, I'm going to play you this video. It's from United 24, and it explains a lot. Plus 63 cents, because someone wanted to make it 69, but it didn't work. So we're now at So we are now at $13,826.54. Not 69. Do you have PayPal? Yes, it is done through PayPal. So if you go to beacons.ai, it's going to give you my PayPal, or if someone in the comments would be kind enough to just post my PayPal in the comments, I would really appreciate it. In the meanwhile, let me save this video so I can we are back at 69 cents. $13,826.69. We also have 69 viewers right now, so but okay, I want to send this video to my computer so I can actually play it to you without having to show you my phone like this, because I feel like it's odd for these types of videos. It's annoying. You can see it on the big screen. It's a video from United 24, and it explains what's happening at the HPP and at the nuclear power plant. Netlin coming in at 491. So that brings us to $13,831.60. Also, okay, give me 1 second. And also, if you watched my video from the other day where I was talking about how the air raid in Kyiv played out for me and how I was going to the bomb shelter, and then I showed you a place near an art studio where I go, and it was I showed you consequences of debris falling and how it was like pretty cleaned up by the time that I got there. So the studio sent me a video of what it looked like before it got cleaned up, and I want to show it to you today. And if you didn't see that video, it's in shorts on YouTube, it's on TikTok, and it's on Instagram, and it's basically the one that starts with I woke up at 3:30 in the morning from an air raid. And I'll show you what that looked like before I got there and everything was cleaned up. That was terrifying, so just FYI. Jason, thank you for bringing the fire. Mama, so yeah, this is practically what that looked like, what that is, and it kind of gives you a rundown of what's been happening. Also, thank you, Jason, for subscribing to the Spy Lair. This is something that I really don't like doing because I never feel comfortable doing it. But if you would like to support my journalism, which really my only profits from social media come from subscribing to the live feature on TikTok, subscribing to my channel on YouTube, or subscribing to Patreon, or through gifts on TikTok and supers on YouTube. So if you do have like $5 a month to spare to support my journalism, it would be very highly appreciated, because that is my source of income. Buy Me a Coffee doesn't work in Ukraine, but it does work in the United States. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee. It's in my link in bio, but I'm not quite sure how to use it very well. So you can also, I mean, if you prefer Buy Me a Coffee, it's in there as well. It's just not set up very well. Like, it works. I just don't necessarily know how to set it up well because I'm not very proficient at it. So there is that. Also, we just got a 9-cent donation because, of course, someone, I'm not going to point fingers, John, had just donated 9 cents to make it 69 cents again. So we're at $13,831.69. For those of you who think you can beat John and even out the amount and bring it to anything other than ending with 69 cents, I will say that you are very naive. And so am I. Ask Rick to help you setting up Buy Me a Coffee again. I will, but I think Rick is like quite busy right now. So I'm just like, I'm waiting for him to start full-time streaming so he has more time so I can take him to a Ukrainian grocery store and film it for you guys. And, also, yeah, John from Arizona, it's not you, it's Jon, 8 missiles hit the Dniprovska hydroelectric station. The damage is very significant. Representative of the Office of the Prosecutor General Belousov. The European Commission has officially proposed an increase in tariffs on import into the EU of grain, oil crops, and other processing products from Russia and Belarus. Also, Nanette just donated 31 cents, which brings us to... what does it bring us to? As per usual, I'm so good at screwing up the total. So I have to... I know what I have to do. 1 second. I will tell you in a moment. Read the reason. Oh, yes, I know. The reason is bet. Round up. No. See, the round. Actually, it was an even number because Netlin donated 31 cents specifically to bring it to a total without cents in it. But 1 second. So 1 sec. Okay. I am bad at math, but what I normally do is I either recount all of the donations after the live, or I go back to the last amount I said, and I mean recount like all the donations, or I go to the last amount that I said. So if somebody can scroll back and tell me what the last amount was, that will significantly help me, because every single time before the live, I basically bring everything. I basically have like a note of what it was after the last live, and so that's how I keep current in case this type of stuff happens. But if it happens during the live, then I have to go back and recount it. So okay, so we are at $13,832 even. Thank you, John. It's why I'm not a software engineer, even though it probably quadruple my annual salary. I could not be a software engineer, but it's not actually, apparently, if you were good at music, you would be a very good software engineer, because it's a different, software engineering doesn't require you understanding math as much as it requires you understanding patterns and like repetitions and stuff like that. So if you are good at music, apparently there is a correlation between being good at software development and music, not software development and math particularly. So there's that. As a result of hitting the Dniprovska HPP, oil products leaked into the Dnipro. Commander of the ground forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Pavlyuk, said that Russia is creating a new grouping of troops with more than 100,000 soldiers, and it is possible that in the summer, the enemy will try to launch an offensive in one of the directions. Today at 1:40 p.m., an enemy drone hit a van with civilians in Novgorod-Siversky district, Chernihiv region. 3 people were injured, said Vyacheslav Chaus, head of the Chernihiv Regional Military Administration. 5 people have been killed and 26 injured in a missile attack on Ukraine, National Police of Ukraine stated. The most casualties in Zaporizhia, there were 3 people killed, an 8-year-old girl and her 35-year-old father, as well as the driver of a trolley bus, which had just got on the route and was driving along the hydroelectric dam. There were no passengers in the vehicle. Darren, 6.66. Oh wow, that's a devil's number. $13,838.66 after this last donation of $6.66 because someone really likes the number 666. The International Monetary Fund has approved another tranche of approximately $880 million for Ukraine under the Extended Fund Facility Program. Prime Minister of Ukraine, Denis Shmyhal, noted. The Prime Minister emphasized, Odin. Odin donated $1.69, but because the total wasn't even at that point, we are at $13,840.35. No 69 cents for you. Okay, the International Monetary Fund has approved another tranche of approximately $880 million for Ukraine under the Extended Fund Facility Program. Prime Minister of Ukraine, Denis Shmyhal, reported. The Prime Minister emphasized that the approval of the third revision of the program is the result of Ukraine's fulfillment of its obligations to its partners. We are expecting the next tranche of financial support in the amount of approximately $880 million. These funds will be used to cover the essential budget expenditures. They will help us to continue to maintain macro-financial stability, Denis Shmyhal added. Also, there is a video titled "The Office of the Register of Damages Caused by the Aggression of the Russian Federation Against Ukraine has opened in Kyiv." And this is an office that Zelensky, it's a Zelensky press conference. We're not going to watch the entirety of this press conference, but we are going to watch some of it. I'm going to put it on the screen once it loads and downloads. So, one second. Okay, we've got another 2 donations, and in total they come out to $1.68. So, 168. And that brings us to $13,842.03. So, so the Office of the Register of Damages Caused by the Aggression of the Russian Federation Against Ukraine has opened in Kyiv. Thank you for the significant progress towards making the Register of Damage effectively functioning. It is important that Ukrainians will soon be able to submit relevant applications directly in Kyiv. Volodymyr Zelensky said at the meeting with Council of Europe Secretary General Maria Pejchinovich-Buric and Dominic Hassler, chair of the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe. I do have the video here. I'm going to play you some of it because the whole thing is 5 minutes, and that's just a little bit, a lot. And, it's kind of like Zelensky talking about why it's important and, talking about how grateful he is that this now exists in Kyiv, which is great. I just don't think we need the whole 5 minutes of watching it. So give me 1 second.
Thank you for having us. Thank you. Very well. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you again. I'm very happy to be here again.
Thank you so much.
With you. Yeah.
It's a great honor, and not the first our meeting, but we are very thankful that you are with us during all this time, from the very beginning of full-scale war. You're coming, important message and decision. Thank you for opening a register of damage. It's very important for us. Very difficult day. I'm very sorry that we have to rush up because of a lot of damages because of the attack. But But anyway, we are very thankful, and I know that our team work on the question of tribunal. The Minister of Justice told me, and but we still don't have the result in this case. It's a pity. Yes, maybe we can share this. Yes, what to do with it. Yes.
Thank you.
Let me begin by
have another donation
deeply
of
moved to be
$15.
back in Kyiv. Thank you very much for having us. I'm present in Kyiv as the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Liechtenstein, but also in my capacity as being the President of the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe at the moment. And let me be just quite clear and concrete and bring it to the point. We, as the Council of Europe, after suspending Russia from the Council, have been quite clear and tirelessly pursued two objectives. First, to strongly condemn and hold accountable the Russian Federation for its criminal actions, and secondly, to assist you in the most concrete and effective way possible. And this is why we are here. We are here to demonstrate our full solidarity with you, with Ukraine, and also with U.S. authorities. But we are also here to assure you that our support goes beyond just words. This is why we are very thankful that we could do a first important step this morning with opening the register of damage. This was also a main priority during our presidency at the Council of Europe, and I'm quite thankful to Secretary General and the whole team that they worked tirelessly.
I think we get the gist of this. Basically, now the damages in Ukraine are going to be officially registered. Sorry, I had to put my camera in a weird position so you guys would be able to, so I could put the people on TikTok towards the computer so they can see it. But so I think that this is, this is a pretty good explanation. Sorry, anyways, my iPhone was doing some weird stuff. I think this is a pretty good explanation of what had happened. Also, this reminded me of something. So Ukraine returned 9 more children today, according to our ombudsman, Lviv. And in that documentary that I watched today, that is on in my community tab on my YouTube, for those of you who weren't here when I was talking about it, I posted a documentary by Kyiv Independent that explains how difficult it is to prove that a crime of genocide has occurred. So the genocide being Russia's intention to attack Ukraine and what Russia is doing in Ukraine, because you have to unequivocally prove that they have had no other intentions behind their actions other than genocide. And it's really hard to do. And there is a whole documentary done by the Kyiv Independent that kind of explores this question, and it's really, really good. And one of the things that really does prove the crime of genocide, rather than just sheer numbers, is the abduction and indoctrination of children. And so there is a very large conversation surrounded around that. So 9 children have been returned home to Ukraine. 4 of them were returned from the temporarily occupied territories, and 5 others were returned as part of the implementation of the President's Action Plan Bring Kids Back UA. 3-year-old sisters, a 6-year-old boy, and a 10-year-old girl from orphanages whose guardians and relatives had requested their return have been reunited. Additionally, efforts have succeeded in reuniting a mother with her 12-year-old daughter. All of them are already on the territory of Ukraine. The children were forced to go to the Russian schools where they were told that Ukraine does not exist as an independent state. One girl also did not receive proper medical treatment. So from the Kyiv Independent documentary, there is a 17-year-old kid who was returned from Russia back to Ukraine. And he was saying how the brainwashing usually doesn't affect older children that much, because obviously their worldview has formed quite a bit. But the younger children, those that were kidnapped with him and those that were brought to these camps at the same time as him, when they were brought there and Russians would force them to sing the Russian anthem and tell them that Ukraine doesn't exist and stuff like that, they would be they would be like very against it. They knew they loved Ukraine. They knew Ukraine existed. They knew they didn't want to sing the Russian anthem. They would sing the Ukrainian anthem back. They were resisting. But then after weeks or months of work on them, these same children that came from Ukraine, whose parents are in Ukraine, they would be telling those older children that, Ukrainians are Nazis, they're Nazis in Ukraine, like Russia is good, Russia is better than Ukraine, everything in Russia is better than Ukraine. And these kids have never seen Russia. They're like in a fucking indoctrination camp, right? And this like man who is literally there to indoctrinate them and re-educate them is just telling them this information and feeding them, and they're young and they're impressionable. So like, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and they believe it because this is an adult with authority telling them that. And that's how Russia does it. And like the reason why they also don't mind as much returning older children is because older children are much harder to brainwash than young children are, because young children absorb information like a sponge. Stormarka. This was on the news, and this is like on the official government website, so you can check the information about Ukrainian children that have been returned from Russia or the occupied territories there. You can literally look it up online, and a bunch of Ukrainian publications will be writing about it. I kind of compile I don't necessarily read from one source. I just have like a huge thing of notes, and that's the information that I read for every stream. Yeah, I don't remember particularly where this one came from, but this was announced by Lubinets, so this would be an official channel. The children were forced to go to Russian schools. They were told that Ukraine does not exist as an independent state. One girl also did not receive proper medical treatment while she was there, which is quite normal for being in Russian captivity. Also, during the Zelensky conference that I was showing you, there was a $15 donation that I announced, and then brought our total to $13,857.03. The attack on the Dnipropetrovsk HPP dam is a consequence of the world's passive reaction to the explosion of the Kakhovka HPP dam, the head of Ukrhydroenergo. The inadequate assessment of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant disaster led to today's attack on such dangerous hydroelectric facilities. If there had been a proper assessment, sanctions were imposed, and proper decisions were made, the enemy would not have dared to fire missiles at hydro facilities, said Igor Sirota, the head of Ukrhydroenergo. He also stated that it is quite possible that the Russians are planning to completely destroy the station. Yeah. Also, Stormarka, who is Ukrainian, is saying it's hard for them to force Ukrainian children to believe their history. Well, so it is when these children are like teenagers, right? Teenagers who have been to school, who are like kind of comprehending the world more reasonably now. But 5-year-olds, like 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, it's really not that difficult because children absorb information. And a lot of these children have been indoctrinated. A lot of these children have been told that their parents abandoned them, that their parents are on a terrorist watch list, that like their parents just basically like left them, like literally left them alone and stuff like that. I'm from Kramatorsk, so I know what I'm talking about. I don't doubt it, but I am saying that like testimonies from children that have come back from Russian captivity, from like indoctrination camps, we're saying that depending on age, it's very different. So older children tend to be much less swayable than younger children tend to be. Older children actually, but older children. So I talked about it yesterday, but there have been a lot of suicide attempts among Ukrainian children that have been kidnapped to Russia. And most of these have been done by teenagers, obviously, because they just don't see the way out, especially those whose parents died in Ukraine or who don't have any relatives here. So they don't really see a way out of Russia, and they know exactly where they are and what their life is going to be like. So it has been like a really horrendous situation. Thank you, Adventures. The Cabinet of Ministers announced the creation of the Aviation Center of the Security Service of Ukraine to protect Ukraine's sovereignty. Due to the martial law, the Security Service of Ukraine was previously included in the state aviation sector. The service was also granted the right to use UAVs and maritime drones to ensure country security, prevent terrorist acts, and protect critical infrastructure. A third of Kharkiv already has electricity, stated Volodymyr Kudrytsky, the head of Ukrenergo. Critical infrastructure has now been restored there, and according to the latest data, about 30 to 40% of the population has already received electricity in Kharkiv. That is as of 8:40 p.m. The terrorist attack in the suburbs of Moscow is a deliberate provocation by the Putin regime, despite warnings from the international community, stated main intelligence directorate representative Yusuf. The Kremlin tyrant began his career with such acts and now seeks to perpetuate them against his own citizens. Yusuf's statement comes after warnings from the U.S. Embassy in Russia and the British Foreign Ministry on March 8th regarding potential terrorist threats in Moscow. Good night, Rick. Main Directorate of Intelligence also stated that terror attack in Moscow is a planned provocation by the Russian special services at the behest of Putin to justify even tougher strikes on Ukraine and total mobilization in the Russian Federation. The public execution of people in Moscow should be understood as Putin's threat of an even greater escalation and expansion of the war, the intelligence agency reported. The GUR believes that the terrorist attack will be a reason to tighten the knots. The Kremlin can accuse Ukraine of organizing a terrorist attack and use the shooting of its own citizens as a pretext for even more brutal attacks on civilian infrastructure and the killing of Ukrainian civilians, the message reads. So, 1999 Russian apartment bombings. In September 1999, a series of explosions hit 4 apartment blocks in the Russian cities of Buynaksk, Moscow, and Volgodonsk, killing more than 300 people and injuring more than 1,000, and spreading a wave of fear across the country. The bombings, together with the invasion of Dagestan, triggered the Second Chechen War. The handling of the crisis by Vladimir Putin, who was prime minister at the time, boosted his popularity greatly and helped him attain the presidency within a few months. Old habits die hard, especially in Russia. So this is referring to тут дуже багато людей з інших країн. This is referring to what Vladimir Putin did in order to boost his popularity in 1991 and to become president. He basically created this terrorist attack of apartment bombings in different Russian cities, one of them being Moscow. There were 300 deaths and about 1,000 injuries. So in the terrorist attack on the concert hall today, there were 40 dead as of like an hour ago and 100 injured. So clearly the pattern is the same. It is to scare the Russian population into thinking that Ukraine needs to be attacked. And Ukraine needs to be attacked more incessantly than it has been, right? That's kind of what Putin does to justify his actions and decisions. In Zaporizhia, the number of victims increased to 29 people, including 2 children. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine denied Ukraine's involvement in the shooting. What is not nice at all? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine denied Ukraine's involvement in the shooting at the Crocus concert hall in Krasnogorsk near Moscow. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs considers the accusations against Ukraine to be a planned provocation by the Kremlin in order to create conditions for increased mobilization of Russians and discrediting of Ukraine in the eyes of the international community. So Russia is struggling for men, Russia is struggling for equipment, but mostly for men, and people don't want to mobilize. And Russia can justify full mobilization because, you know, they're winning in Ukraine. Why would they need more people? So this is, this is basically also one of their ways to incentivize the Russian population to want to go fight and to want to go execute revenge on Ukrainians. Thank you, Truthful. So there is that. We condemn Russia's brutal attacks on Ukrainian cities and civilian infrastructure. People's lives are at stake, and further delay is unacceptable. Republicans in the House of Representatives should unblock aid to Ukraine now, said Adrienne Watson, head of the press service of the White House National Security Council. It is extremely important that we provide Ukraine with additional air defense equipment as soon as possible to protect against these attacks, she added. So that is all I have for today, but I do want to show you, the result of debris damage on my favorite art studio in Kyiv. I'm not going to be naming the studio, obviously, even though it's been 48 hours, so it's fine. Russians already know where the debris fell and they know what they hit. But at the same time, I still don't want to do that. I do want to show you the extent of damage that has happened from debris falling, because what we were talking about yesterday is that a lot of people don't understand that all missiles intercepted does not automatically mean no damage has been caused. There is always damage. It's just minimized because debris falling and fires happening because of that is still way less damage than if a rocket exploded on impact. So if you want to see what this damage looked like by the time I was passing by and went there to check it out and put it in a video for you guys, you can watch one of my latest shorts on YouTube or my latest TikTok video or my latest Instagram video. And you will recognize that this is the place, except I'm showing it to you after the people had already cleaned it up. But this is what it looked like beforehand. So 1 second, I'm showing it to you again. And then you will see it in my video. And there's probably like 8 hours in between this video and the video that I filmed. So it's kind of crazy that the people there were able to clean up the damage and all of this debris and everything so fast. Although there were obviously windows in the building that were shattered and that fell out. So that type of stuff you can't clean up in a day, of course. I'm happy to hang out for 10 more minutes and talk and answer questions, but I'm going to go grab the tiny little ice cream from my fridge that I really like. And I'm going to show it to you. My freezer, actually not fridge. I don't keep ice cream in the fridge. But hey, I'm only human. Sometimes I say stupid stuff. So I saw it right before the stream, and I was like, wait, I didn't realize I had this. But so, Cindy, I don't know. You don't see her. Wait, look at her. Hi, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. She's so funny. Like, she's built this like fortress for herself out of like these pillows. Like, you guys. Wait, those of you that are on YouTube, I actually want to show this to you. I'm gonna like take the lamp. Wait. I'm gonna take the lamp and I'm going to show you this dog. Like, look at her. Look at how incredibly just this dog. I'm so sorry. I love her so much. She's like way too funny, and this dog is just like so entitled. It's not even funny. Yes, Sin, I get it. Also, like, she is just, she is. Can I help you? She's like looking at me so mad. She's like, I'm sorry, why are you bothering my beauty sleep? Yes. Come here, bud. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Silvana, come here. She's like not willing to do it. All right, bud. Come here. Come here. Bye-bye. Are you comfortable? Why are you sitting like that? Wait. Oh. Come here. Okay, fine. You go to sleep, bud. She's not with us. Okay. Oh, now you want to say hello? Hi. Hello, Baba. Hello. Look at this dog. Hello. Hello. Mm. Mm-hmm. No, don't do that. Oi, I need to brush your teeth, bud. That was horrendous. Oi, such a cute creature and such gnarly smell. Okay, go to sleep. Jesus, okay. Bud. Actually, you want to see how... So I got her this foam. I'm sorry, we're like, we're just hanging out here now. I got her this toothbrushing foam that is literally just foam. And I find it so funny because it's like, how old is my dog? 4, almost. She's going to be 4, 15th of April. But so this foam is funny because you don't even have to brush her teeth. You just have to like put the foam in her mouth. And the way that she reacts to it is so funny. I like love it. Wait, you guys. This is Cindy. She's a Frenchie. Okay. This is like the cutest thing. Like, this brushes her teeth. But it's just so funny because she's like, what is this? Does that clean the fluff's tooths? Yes. And it's called Furish, Minty Fresh Foam. This thing? Furish. Okay, wait. All right, last one. Give me. She's just so funny because she looks like she's like this. The foam out of her mouth literally looks. It just looks very strange, right? She's so unamused, but at the same time, it's like food. No, not like that. So, so yeah. So this is Cindy and her little toothbrushing. Okay, breathe on me. Oh, your breath is so fresh. That's so nice. Okay, she looks resentful. She always looks resentful. I need that. What is it? What is that? So you literally can order it probably on Amazon. I think it's a European or an American brand. It's called Furish. I've seen it in the US before. So it's called Furish, Good, Clean, Fine, Minty Fresh Foam. Minty Fresh Foam. There. For those of you who want it. I also highly recommend this. So I'm like, I love how this has become like a dog, dog suggestions live, but basically this Derma Bona thing. Okay, so this Derma Bona thing. So it's a antibacterial spray with probiotics. So anytime Cindy, has some sort of a, like, so she constantly like gets like mildly injured on like tree branches or in bushes or in something like that, and I constantly find like little things. No, Наталя, так, банка Монобанку розбита, там було 13,8 тисяч гривень. І оскільки я вважала, що декілька днів тому Fundraiser дуже сильно піднявся, і я думала, що і на Монобанк дуже рідко хтось кидає гроші, то я думала, що він набагато швидше збереться, ніж він зібрався. І я розбила банку, тому що я думала, що ми десь приблизно в той вечір це зберемо. Ми не зібрали це в той вечір, ясне діло. Я написала своєму другу, який в мене з 3-ї штурмової, на яку банку закинути ті 13 тисяч. Тобто я чекаю від нього відповідь, на яку банку закинути. І після цього я перекину ті гроші, як він мені скаже, на яку саме банку, чи вони створять нову банку, чи скинути на ту банку, яка вже існує. Я зроблю скріншот і запощу його на Твіттері і на цьому, і на Ютубі. Я не бачила, якщо ви писали про це раніше, то я не бачила. Але так, банка розбита, то її вже немає. То тепер донатити можна лише через Venmo, PayPal і через Revolut. Я думаю, що я просто не знаю, чи варто відкривати на декілька днів ще одну монобанку, тому що я не знаю, чи це типу доречно. Але я не знаю, це хороше запитання. Я думаю, що може я придумаю щось в наступні декілька днів, але типу наразі PayPal, Venmo і Revolut. Вибачаюсь, це був мій пройом, бо я типу дуже зраділа і думала, що ми закриємо збір, а ми його так швидко, як я думала, не закрили. Сінюха! But so basically this probiotic spray. There's this. In case you guys needed any type of dog suggestions. Also, Armin's quote of the day. I did not read it today. And I will read it right now. My English is superbly. You mean superb? But you're from Ukraine? Yes, I am from Ukraine. My Ukrainian is superb as well. Have patience and endure. This unhappiness will one day be beneficial. Publius Avidius Naso. Steadfast endurance is key to survival. So endure, endure, endure. Yeah, I think that's what Ukrainians have been doing. We've been enduring, unfortunately. Cindy in the back, like, yeah, Cindy is a queen. But so this is what I wanted to show you before. So this is like incredibly overpriced. I mean, for Ukraine, it's incredibly overpriced because I believe it's like 64 hryvnias, which is a little less than $2. And it's tiny. You will see exactly how tiny it is. But it's poppy seed ice cream. And the first time I got it, I thought it'd be like, you know, the size of this thing. No, it's tiny. And when I saw it, how small it is, I was like, oh my God, what a waste of money. I hate myself for buying this. But then I tried it. And once a month or once in 2 weeks, I go and get myself a couple of these. Because like I just can't justify spending 64 hryvnias on an ice cream this small. Yes, that is the entire ice cream if you were wondering. It's sort of like, you know, if you're trying not to gain weight, you know, really, this is really for you to enjoy, you know, to not go overboard. Oh wow, it's really frozen. But it has become my favorite ice cream. I normally don't like I normally don't like white chocolate. There's a very thin layer of that there. And it's poppy seed. I mean, they do have like other flavors. Oh my God. They don't just have the poppy seed one, but if you ever see this at Silpo, I recommend it. In dollars, it's like almost $2. And this is very little ice cream for $2. But it's really worth it once in a while. At least for me, I really like it. That ice cream is not for aesthetic eating. No, it's not. But also, like, I'm not an aesthetic eater. So, genuinely, like, yeah, I'm not an aesthetic eater. Yeah. That's that. So it might not be ice cream, it might be me. And UAH is 64 hryvnias. And the poppy seed one is good. They also they have other flavors. Just FYI. A lifelong fear of buckwheat? Thank you. Being back home, have you ever met a Ukrainian that thought you were American, if I can ask? Every gosh darn day, darling, he'll be on the phone at the supermarket buying something to drink or something. And I'm on the phone in English. I come up to the register and the woman expects me to say Dobry dang, kartka or karta, which means Heroям slava, which means hello, cash or credit, right? And I usually come in and I'll be like, hey, can I also have a plastic bag or like whatever? And I start speaking in Ukrainian, and everybody and the person is always like, because they didn't expect it, they thought I was American. Same happens in taxis. Same happens in the elevator. Every time I speak to Cindy in English. Every time I'm in the elevator and I speak to my dog in English, and then my dad calls me and I pick up in like perfect Ukrainian. I'm like, hey, I'm in the elevator. I'll call you back. People are like, what the fuck just happened? It looks like they feel like they entered a different dimension, and it's actually really funny. So yeah. Yes, someone said they have a fear of buckwheat. Mm-hmm. Is Cindy bilingual? Kinda. She's mostly English speaking or English hearing, English barking. She doesn't even bark. So she's like English ing. She makes noises. Yeah. Hi, Dan. Misha, I have electricity. That should indicate to you that I'm not Russian. I also have a bathroom with fully functional plumbing. Would you like me to demonstrate that? I feel like that should indicate to you that I'm not Russian. Oh, it's a troll. Don't worry about it. Are you in Ukraine right now? Yes, I am. I'm in Kyiv. Yeah. Як звати собаку? Sinya. The dog's name is Sini, S-Y-N-I, which means blue in Ukrainian. Well, actually, multitudes of blue, because we have like Sinya, which is feminine for blue, Sini, masculine for blue. Hi, Netherlands. And Sini, multiples of blue. Her name is Sini. Right now it's 2 a.m. 2:07 a.m. Yeah. Okay. I'll be back in a minute. I want to throw these things out and wash my phone where I have all this melted chocolate. So one sec. Señor. Wait. Okay. I'm back. Alrighty, guys. I think it's time for me to go and try to sleep for a little while. Or, like, actually attempt, I guess. Because I'm assuming it's going to be a loud night. And yes, I am going to put my water bottle, snacks, fill Cindy's water bottle, and what was it? Snacks, water bottle, something else. Medicine. Thank you. Water, meds, snacks. What would I do without you guys? Water, meds, snacks. Okay. Alrighty. I shall see you guys tomorrow. Bye. See you later.